Well, the Jacob Zuma Foundation holding a prayer meeting in Durban following the release from prison of the former president. To remind you, he was granted medical parole. He was serving 15 months behind bars for refusing to appear before the State Capture Commission. Let's find out more about this prayer meeting, joined by a spokesperson for the Jacob Zuma Foundation, Mr. Mzwanele Manyi. Mr. Manyi, good morning to you. Good to have you on eNCA. So a prayer meeting taking place today. Briefly, why is that happening? What's the idea behind this?
Good morning to you and good morning to the eNCA viewership. Yeah, indeed, today at 10 o'clock at the People's Park near Moses Mabhida Stadium, there will be a national welcome prayer to thank God that President Zuma's life has been saved thus far. This is a man that has been bombarded with all kinds of hatred, with all kinds of hateful things, with all kinds of unlawfulness, incarcerated with punitive sentences despite a crime being a civil one. So indeed he's been on the receiving end of all the bad things, but he has come out alive out of that prison. As we know that part of the other issues was that he's also survived poisoning. So there was a lot of anxiety from those that love him that he's going into prison will make him vulnerable to all kinds of attacks, including poisoning, as it were. So for him to come out alive, this is an opportunity for all of us now to thank God that has preserved His Excellency President Zuma's life, and also to ask God going forward that to continue his sterling work of preserving the life of President Zuma, because we are very confident as a foundation that the ravaged South Africa, the wrecked South Africa, the divided South Africa can only be united by His Excellency President Zuma.
I want to ask just about the event itself. Who's going to be in attendance? I'm sure many church leaders will be in attendance as well, Mr. Manyi. But just before I get to that, help me, just give me a bit more information about the poisoning that you're talking about. Some viewers watching might not know what you're referring to. Just give me some more info about that, please.
No, this is not what it's all about. I'm just giving background. It's been in the media. Those that don't know, perhaps they can Google, they'll find all the information about that. It's not a secret that His Excellency President Zuma even had to go to Russia to get the best medical treatment to deal with this matter. It's all out there in the public domain, it's not a secret. So indeed, he has survived those kinds of attacks, and we were worried that similar things might happen while he's in prison.
Oh, I understand. Okay, let's talk about who's going to be there. I'm sure many church leaders going to want to be there for this prayer as well.
Indeed, we've got a lot of church leaders that are there. The one that I've already spoken to this morning is Chief Apostle Nongunga. Is definitely going to be there. There are many others that are going to be there, but I don't think I'm at liberty to mention their names, as it were. And I think people must just go there. There's a big surprise coming out there in terms of the hard hitters in the religious space that are going to be there, African spirituality leaders, and all of that. So indeed, today we are looking forward to a day that's going to be filled with hope, a day that's going to be filled with love, a day that will hopefully be a beginning, a fresh start to renewing South Africa, a fresh start to having a peaceful country, a united country. So President Zuma is going to be, has been asked by God basically to make sure that he carries out this arduous task.
It's a very big day for the foundation and the former president and supporters. I'm sure it's also going to be observing social distancing and lockdown regulations to keep everyone safe, I'm sure.
Indeed, and I must make this point that we have also been observing with concern the selective morality of media in terms of this one, of social distancing and all of that. Media has been flashing various events where President Ramaphosa has been addressing crowds that were shouting at him for all manner of things about lack of service delivery and poor delivery, as it were, by the ANC and candidature and all of that, all the mess that is happening there. And in those events, there were shoulder-to-shoulder people, the people that were not wearing masks, but we never heard media complaining about this. In the malls, people are packed to capacity, and they'll be even more packed towards the festive season. But we don't hear media saying anything about this. But now that it's President Zuma, all of a sudden there is this huge concern for COVID, for lockdown, for all of that. Be that as it may, we will continue as a foundation to do the right thing. As you would have seen in the Twitter handle of the foundation, we've also asked those that can afford to please help us to bring more masks, to bring more sanitizers, to make sure that this event does not become a super spreader event.
I would imagine then as well, as someone who had such a major influence on the country and the ANC, it wouldn't be considered inappropriate for the former president to be supporting and endorsing the ANC for the elections. I'm sure he's going to talk about that and speak to those involved about endorsing the ANC, I'm sure.
His Excellency President Zuma has never been confused about his support for the ANC. He also is not oblivious to all the problems, particularly visited to the ANC by the leadership of the ANC. He's not oblivious to all of that. He notes the people's concerns, but he has come to a conclusion that it's a fundamental mistake not to vote for the ANC. So His Excellency President Zuma calls on all his supporters to continue voting the ANC and fix the ANC.
Just one final question to you, Mr. Manyi. I'm sure you would have seen some of the criticism levelled against today's event, suggesting that it's trying to take the spotlight away from President Ramaphosa in campaigning. Is that true? Is that what's happening as well?
I don't know where that comes from. In fact, if anything, President Ramaphosa should be celebrating that President Zuma is doing this. You will see the multitudes that are going to be there. I think, in fact, if it wasn't for President Zuma, the drop in support that the ANC is going to suffer this time around would be even more without President Zuma's support. So I think, if anything, President Ramaphosa should do everything possible to ensure that he makes life easy for President Zuma, to assist him in uplifting the ANC. Without President Zuma, there is no ANC.
Well, I appreciate your time. All the best with the socially distanced national prayer meeting today. Appreciate your time. From the Jacob Zuma Foundation, Mr. Mzwanele Manyi joining us here on eNCA.